Zin Mar Aung is the foreign minister of the National Unity Government of Myanmar, which was ousted in a coup by the military junta in 2021 and has since then been governing partially in exile. Zin Mar Aung joins us here at the Munich Security Conference. Thank you very much for speaking to DW today. So let's start with the state of play in Myanmar. Myanmar is in a state of civil war. There are rebel groups aligned with your National Unity Government that are fighting against the military junta. The military junta currently is estimated to control just 40% of the country. What is the state of the civil war right now from your point of view?
In my point of view, and also the information that we got from the ground and engagement with our ethnic alliance, we are gaining. Our control areas are more expanding each and every day, not just only in our NUG PDF control area, especially in ethnic organization control area. For example, like even in Rakhine states, there are more and more control areas are now more and more broadened each and every day. So in this regard, in control area, our alliance and NUG also need to...
Just to explain, NUG is National Unity?
Yes, National Unity Government. As a government, we also need to provide public services in our control area. And of course, at the same time, ethnic organizations are also providing, that kind of public services in our control area. So this is the military ways of fighting against military junta. But at the same time, politically, we have the actors, dialogues among and NUG, National Unity Government, and with others, ethnic organizations. So how can we set up, what are the value of our future union? So what are the principles beyond if we are able to topple down military coup, what will be next? What are the day one? So day one looks like. So that kind of political dialogues are also happening between the National Unity Governments and ethnic resistance groups. This is what's happening.
And the civil war intensified since October, that's right, where there was a new offensive that was begun. And your goal is simply to remove the junta from power. What would you like to see happen to the military leaders who did take control of Myanmar in that coup?
First thing is that the military leaderships need to realize that they are losing, and the people of Myanmar are no more accept military leaderships in politics. It is very clear. They need to realize and they need to accept that. This is the message I would like to send to the military leaderships. And another thing is that they need to start their own reform, because we do not accept, we are very clear in that position. In the future Myanmar, there will be no more positions of the military leaderships in politics. Military institutions should be under the democratic civilian control. This is what all we need to reform our institutions and to set up, to bring democracy back to our country. And of course, in order to build federal democratic unions, we also need to have new constitutions. We are not able to allow to govern and to follow according to the 2008 constitution. What we need is that to reform the political systems, not just only the changing of leaderships. So military leadership need to accept that and realize that they are losing on the ground. No more military rules in our country. No, our people are not accept any more military rules in our country. This is what we would like to convey the message to the military leaderships, and this is what they need to do.
So that's the level of the civil conflict. There are also outside actors involved. I mean, let's talk about the role of China. I mean, China has been, the strongest supporter, really, of the junta, but it also has reported ties to elements within the rebel side, within the offensive. I mean, whose side do you feel China is on right now?
I think this time China is quite practically engaging both sides, because of Chinese leaderships realize that who is losing and also who is the real actor that can bring stability in their borders, in our borders and regions. So without the stability, any kinds of investments cannot be guaranteed. So that is why military rules and military dictatorships are now one of the threats to the regions, and especially in our border, in order to realize Chinese investment to guarantee in stable regions. So that is why I think this time the Chinese government is not just only engaging, but also putting pressure and persuading military junta, I think, to bring stability back to their region. And also at the same time, Chinese government is cautiously engaging with the the ethnic organization as usual in their border, because Chinese border and border trade is now almost stopped even after the COVID era. So they would like to re-engage and reopen the border trade. So in order to do so, they need stability in their border. So that is why China is very engaging with different actors, not just only with the military junta.
And there's been quite a large Chinese delegation here in Munich for the security conference. Have you been talking to members of that delegation?
Oh, not yet. We are trying to, but we haven't got a chance to meet with the Chinese delegation yet.
I mean, China alongside Russia, I mean, they both provided weapons to the junta, jet fighters, for instance. I mean, what's your message to them over those kind of weapons supplies? Would you call on China and Russia to stop those weapons supplies?
Yes, we frankly and openly request not just only China, but also any other country who are providing military junta as their weapons are indirectly, they are involved in killing our own people and civilians. So that is why, to the international community, we also ask for to stop, embargoes to the military junta. So Russia, wherever it is, Iran, Belarus, they are quite, closely, very, close tied with the military junta. Not just after a military coup, but also before coup, they already have that kind of communication. So. Yeah, not just only China, but also all the countries who are now engaging with the military junta. We are asking for to stop providing weapons to them, because they are killing their own people using that kind of weapons to the civilians.
And even India had provided some weapons to the junta. Last year, a UN report revealed that even some state-owned entities in India were providing weapons to the junta. What's your message to India?
Yes, of course. India is the world's largest democracy and our immediate neighbors. And I also would like to encourage the India government, like a single message that not to provide the weapon to the military junta. Military junta is not just a proper military institution in a democratic country, even in, for example, totally different from the others military institution in the region, because they are killing their own people by using your support. So that is why which country it is providing military junta, please stop providing the weapon to the military.
And have you been speaking to Indian delegates here in Munich?
No, unfortunately. So that is why in the region we are very much difficult to reach out to even for our neighboring countries in the region.
I mean, would you like to see India play more of a role in Myanmar? I mean, China has a massive role there. It has huge Belt and Road investment programs. Would you like India to kind of have an equal role in Myanmar that might act a bit of a counterweight to avoid excessive dependency on China?
Oh yes, actually in our country, location is quite strategic for not just only for China, but also for the India, Thailand, and for the region as a whole. I do believe that is why, we in our country has that not just only the Chinese investment, but also India has also its own interest, like a Kaladan projects in our country. So I think India need to engage with the right counterparts in our country, which is not the military, it should be for those who are representing the voice of the people and who guarantee the future investment of the India and, of course, whoever it is coming to Myanmar.
And what about the West? I mean, the West has, obviously there are sanctions in place, but these are not preventing some of these provisions of arms. What kind of support are you looking for from Western countries while you're on trips like this to the Munich Security Conference?
Yeah, first thing is that I would like to, request Western country to continue support and engaging with our democratic movement and to give the platform, the voice of the people of Myanmar in this global platform. This is what we need. And another thing is that we need practical support, not just only the statement or moral support, of course, is very important. But what we need is that if we can get practical support, even for, the humanitarian assistance, there are dire situations of the humanitarian and IDPs, and that kind of humanitarian needs are very, very deeply and broadening, requires in my country. So in this regard, even if European and Union and the European member states can support very effectively to our people, that will be very helpful, and we'll appreciate that. And then I think that will be helpful for the national unity government to reduce a burden, that we are, bearing for our people. So this is first thing. And sorry, not the last thing, and not the least, the last thing is that we still need to take action to put pressure to the military junta. I really appreciate that European Union round of sanctions to the military junta to stop of the embargoes and of course the economic sanctions against the military junta. I would like to request that we need more and more round of targeted and effective sanction to the military leadership. Thank you.
And do you have any degree of frustration sometimes that there are so many crises going on in the world at the moment, particularly that are really becoming a major focus for Europe? There's the war in Ukraine, there's the war in Gaza, there are tensions in the South China Sea, tensions over Taiwan. The list of crises is long. Is it a struggle for you to keep Myanmar on the global agenda?
Yes, it is. It is. That is why I am joining and attending the conference like that in order to maintain our agenda in the global agenda and conference. And sometimes we feel like that our issue is overlooked, but our issue is the only and possible issue, I think, during the time of democratic backsliding across the world. But our people are struggling and very hardworking against to stop military junta and to remove authoritarian regime in my country and to bring back democracy and freedom, even within the region. This is why I think sometimes, of course, I feel frustrated, but I'm trying to engage to maintain our agenda globally to get attention.
One issue that has got international attention is the online scams that have been bubbling up and based from Myanmar. So some major sort of scamming operations going on. Explain a bit, what's your view on that? How are those scamming operations kind of feeding off the situation in Myanmar?
Actually, this is one of the example of the products of military dictatorships. That is why our government is addressing that issue, and we also publicly issued the statement we are ready to cooperate to fight against that kind of transnational organized crime, which is affecting not just only our own people, but also people who are living in the region, even beyond the regions. The people are affecting because of this military junta and lack of rule of law and committing in that kind of crimes. So I think this is affecting for those, the who are supporting military junta. For example, even Chinese citizens are also suffering because of the online scam. Indian citizens are also suffering. Brazilian, Philippines, Indonesia, all the regions is affecting because of these online scams and cross-border, the transnational organized crimes. I think one of the basic problem is that military dictatorships in my country, they are committing crime officially and brandly committing that kind of military, that kind of the crime against humanity. But at the same time, they are also committing that kind of transnational organized crime. So that is why it is really important to address. And national unity government is ready to cooperate with international community and family to solve that problem.
I mean, DW recently published an investigative report looking at one of these online scam sites, which was in Karen State, which is in the east, and that is, it was a scam compound that was actually protected by the border guard force, which is directly under the military. What is the relationship there? What is the flow of money that is making that happen like that?
So it is actually out of radar, our radar, to monitor how, that kind of illicit economies are happening. That is why we need international attention to pay attention in this regard. It is not just only in our national issue. It is the cross-border issue and international issue. It has already international issue. So that is why we are also request and demanding for the international attention. It's not just only the fighting military junta and the people, one party and another party. It is actually the regional issue and stability issue in our region.
And there's you also have Chinese mafia working hand in hand with local groups here. And according to our reporting, it's not just junta-controlled areas. There are also rebel groups involved in these kind of scam operations. I mean, what are you doing as a national unity government to put pressure on even rebels that might be aligned with you to not take part in these kind of scams? Can you rule out parts of your alliance actually being involved in this?
Yes, actually it is very difficult to identify the revolutionary forces are institutionally engaging the crimes or individually engaging, because of what we can clearly see is that the border guard forces are not the revolutionary forces. They are just under the military junta. But for those who are, for example, like Northern Alliance, they clearly announced that they joined that revolution. One of the reasons they joined that fighting is that to fight against the online scams and to bring attention, to take action for that kind of transnational organized crime. This is one of the agenda. They are joining that revolution. It is very clear, but I'm not sure whether border guard forces are in line with our own principle or not. They are not ready to join with us. Some of the border guard forces are trying to join the revolutionary forces. If they would like to join the revolutionary forces and system change, they need to address that issue very clearly.
So let's just wrap up with a final question. I mean, you've struck a note of optimism about the state of the civil war, but of course it's not over yet. What are the stakes for Myanmar? What happens if the military does manage to prevail to come out and win this war? What would that mean for the people of Myanmar?
Actually, yes, the people of Myanmar is now in a very difficult situation. But on the other hand, even under that kind of very threatening, difficult situations, people are, still saying no more dictatorships, and we are ready to fight against and ready to, enjoy the new state of Myanmar, and so I think, in my point of view, we are ready to transform the country. People as a whole are ready to transform the systems and ready to transform the country. We are ready for the new Myanmar as a people as a whole. But for those who are committing crime and who are killing their own people, I think they need to surrender as quick as they can, because many of the military forces are now joining and defeating. Dissertations are very hugely happening and fighting in the battlefield. So that is why military junta is getting collapsed each and every day. So that is why military leaderships need to join with us, with the people and the will of the people. They need to implement and reflect the will of the people.
Zin Mar Aung, thanks very much for speaking to DW today.
Thank you so much for taking that opportunity to share with your audience. Thank you.